listeners, thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Russell Kaye. This is my special guest, DJ Patty C. We have Mrs. Arizona and her lovely husband, Chris. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this live interview on Facebook. We finally made it happen, guys.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Yes. So we want to start the interview. Kind of like walk, for people who are like watching the live interview right now, kind of like walk us through your journey. How did it start for you, and how did you get to where you are right now, Hannah?
Ooh.
How much time do you have?
The viewers on my side of this, actually, a lot of them are from Vermont, and so they knew me from when I was a kid. And I was a total tomboy as a kid. I was a three-season athlete. I had never done anything like dance or singing or wearing skirts or wearing high heels or anything girly. I was climbing trees. I was like catching salamanders with my brother. Straight up tomboy. And in addition to that, I'll tell you guys, because we have no secrets in our household, but in addition, I had incredibly bad acne as a teenager. I was super thin and had not a curve on me. It was like a toothpick. I had like the awkward teenage years were intense for me. And so I chopped all my hair up, and then I tried to dye it blonde, and it ended up being orange, because like every good teenage girl, you try to do it yourself or you go to a really cheap place. And so I was the quintessential awkward, really severely unattractive teenager. And I never had a date. Yes, it's really live, brother. I never had a date. I never had guys interested in me. I was just completely out of that world. And so one day, it's true. My brother he can testify. And so we're sitting around, and it's a couple of my girlfriends, and I just had a few close friends, and then my brother and a few of his buddies. And I get this postcard in the mail to compete for Miss Vermont Teen USA. At this point, I was 16, and everybody started laughing, like, oh, there's no way that you could do that. And, they sent this to the wrong house. Like, there's no way that this tomboy is going to ever do a beauty pageant. And, the more people continue, like, if you got a competitive bone in your body, they push and they push. And then when someone finally was like, there is no way you could ever do that. And that was my breaking point. And it went into like, oh, really? Watch me. And so I entered Teen USA, and I came in third runner-up, which is fancy term for fourth, out of 4 girls. So that was awesome. So last. I was dead last. Dead
Do
last.
the math for everybody. Last place. Dead last.
Dead last. And then the next year, but I'm one of those super competitive people. Like, if I do something, I want to win. And so I want to figure out how to master it. It's not even about winning. It's about excellence for me. Like, once I put my mind to something, I want to pursue it to the best that I can be. So then I go back the next year, and I end up first runner-up. And then I move out to Arizona, and I start surrounding myself into the pageant world, which was completely foreign. And I went to ASU. So, top 10 party school. The girls taught me how to look a little bit more like a girl, and they taught me how to like do hair and put makeup on, and bought my first high heels, and do all that girly stuff. And so I continued to compete for years, and I had very, very little money. I would buy like the $60 rack on clearance from the back of Macy's, like $50 dress, on the rack. And it was really bad for a lot of years. I have no stage talent, and so I was really terrible at the Miss America system.
Still
I still have the Miss USA system. I was always like the runner-up. And so here I am now, almost 40, and I have a state title that's Mrs. Arizona American, and I get to go to nationals and represent my state. So it's kind of a crazy journey. Like, people, you look at me now and you wouldn't imagine me back then, and you knew me back then and you wouldn't have ever imagined that I would sort of become a little bit more of I would become a pageant girl. Like, who would have thought?
You mentioned that, you're going through, you're preparing for the Mrs. Arizona. How is the state of Arizona? I mean, what type of publicity are you getting out there, and what type of support are you getting, and how does that feel?
Yeah, so it's a wonderful state to be a part of. Arizona, the Mrs. Arizona pageant system, the director, Diane Ritter, has been doing this for a long time, and she's very seasoned, and she loves the ladies that compete tremendously, and they become like family. And this year, she's always supportive, and it's in a great state to be part of. This year, it's extra awesome because there's not just one title. Usually there's the Mrs. Arizona, and she goes on to Mrs. America. It gets very confusing. So even people who are in it are confused. So don't worry if you guys all lose me here, including this guy.
Well, I'm up to speed. I know.
You should quiz him, Russell. Yeah, you want to explain the three titles? So there's actually 3 titles this year. There's the Miss for America, which starts, in each state has a Miss for their state that goes on to the national competition. And that's for the unmarried ladies. And then there's the Mrs. American for each state, which is my title. And then there's the Mrs. America. So this year, crashing in Las Vegas, in 5 weeks,
150.
you're going to have not just 50, but 150 ladies and 3 pageants, national level, going simultaneously at the Westgate Resort. It's going to be like off the chain. Is that an
Social distancing at its finest.
Yes, with lots of masks.
That's awesome. Now I know Patty C's look at me right now, right? She's like, it's my turn to ask a question. So we're gonna turn it forward to Patty C. And I know she has a question. What you got, Patty?
And how many kids do you have?
We have 3. They're actually in the other room. And this is our first experiment with the oldest one, the 9-year-old, babysitting the 6-year-old and the 2-year-old. So if I disappear, it's because I'm hearing a fire alarm or a smoke alarm or like ear piercing screaming. But yeah, we have 3 and they're totally amazing.
I mean, being a mom, if you have 3 kids, you are probably very busy, I cannot imagine how you prepare yourself and continue being you and compete it. What is the difference you with another girl, so another Mrs. That are going to compete in this pageant?
Being a mom and everything else that I'm doing. So yeah, thanks for asking. Things are a little crazy. A lot of caffeine really helps. That's my secret trick. I mean, yes, it's insane. It really is. Like right now, in my life, I'm super fortunate to be a mom of 3. I'm growing a real estate business that is blessing my life in incredible ways, and I wasn't expecting it to be growing, to be building a team. And so that's happening, which offers its own blessings, that I now have friends that are asking me if they could partner with me and work with me and learn real estate. And the challenge additionally is now I feel responsible for more people. I care about them and I want them to succeed. So that's sort of like parenting more kids in a way. And then we have the pageant to get ready for. But I'll be honest with you right now, Patty, one of the greatest priorities in my life, I'm going to try not to cry.
Good luck.
Good luck, is that I had a family member become really ill and diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer and this person is the rock. I actually put it out on Facebook already, so I'll share. It's my daddy. And so my daddy has been like the pillar of my whole life. And he's always been that guy who was the problem solver for me. When I was taking on too much, I was sort of that like over perfectionist, and I was always so hard on myself and I never felt good enough. And daddy would be right there to be like, no girl, you got this, you can do it. And so they moved out to Arizona just about 3 weeks prior to his diagnosis in November. And it's just been so amazing. I mean, incredibly difficult. Yes. The hardest low bottom other than me getting sober from alcoholism 11 years ago. This has been the hardest time in my life from my dad's diagnosis. But at the same time, the silver linings have been so incredible. And the blessings that God has given us through this journey have been profound. And the reason I mention it like in this question is because when I look at the busyness of, mothering and trying to adult, right? and trying to keep a business at least sustainable. I haven't been trying to grow it. It's just been God naturally growing it for me since November. But the most important job that I've had since November, and then the pageant thing, right, has been being there for my family. And the role reversal of me needing and leaning on daddy my whole life, and all of a sudden, Chris and I have been the rock for them, for my dad and my mom. And the perspective of like the glitter and the life that's lived outside for maybe achievement or yes, making a difference, but being out there has really flipped for me since November. And now I'm living in here. And it's like, it's all just become a little smaller, but so much more powerful and so much more important to me. So that's my priority at this moment. And then I add pageant preparation and business and parenting and everything else all at the same time. And I get up really early. I take naps when I need to. This guy does a lot of work. He does the kids in the morning, gets them ready for school for me. He packs their stuff and gets them bathed and gets them off to school so that I can do my workouts in the morning. And then I can do my spiritual time, my prayer and meditation. I do AA meetings a lot of days a week. And then I'm okay and ready to, and strong enough, both physically and spiritually and emotionally. Those buckets have to be full every morning for me. Otherwise, I don't have enough to do it all. And then thankfully he's handling the children. And then I can like show up for life.
What is your plans?
If
If you win the title?
I win the title, what are
You
my
get to go to
plans?
well, you want to go to this girl, right?
Well, yeah, the winner gets to go to Mrs. World, which is
Pretty fun.
pretty amazing. You know, I mean, that's obviously, it's halfway a self-serving thing, but that's been my dream. And I visualized myself winning, or at least going to Mrs. World for so many years, that it would be this complete testimony to the power of attraction and God-fulfilling dreams if you show up as the right person in your life and you serve. And you know, just it would be that story for me of never giving up, you know, as that really ugly duckling 16-year-old who never felt enough, to then at 40 going on to win one of the coolest, most coveted beauty pageant queenie titles in the whole world would be insane. You know, and I think for me, and so again, a lot of this, you guys, has changed. Like if you had asked me this when I first won the Mrs. Arizona American title this summer, I would have had a really different answer. I would have had it all completely scripted out. I would have had it type A, mapped out, calendar driven, you know, Excel spreadsheeted. And what's happened is that the combination of COVID, for one, which has shut down a lot of the opportunities that I normally would have been pursuing with a title. But then secondarily, my dad's diagnosis in November has really made that focus be about the core essential things in life that are important to me. And that's family, and that's relationship. And as driven and type A as I naturally am, it's really easy for me to be out there. And I think what I now bring, like if I get to win this title today, I get to bring authenticity and I get to bring hope to America and just say, you know what, you guys, like there is nothing that people are experiencing that we haven't experienced, that I haven't experienced. And I think that's just the place that I'm in. I think that's what God has put these challenges in my life currently to let me bring a broken version of me so that I don't have time and energy to polish and perfect. Like I'm here to show beautiful chaos. And, you know, it's like let people know that there's nothing that can happen to us in our lives that can break us if we don't let it, you know. And I think the examples that Chris and I get to bring are just that authenticity. Like we've been through alcoholism, we've been through food addiction and sex and love addiction, and we've been through losing businesses and building businesses, and him playing professional poker and making so much money that we were completely irresponsible with it, and it allowed us to make so many bad decisions, to hurt ourselves and to spend frivolously and be stupid. So like we've had such, and then all of our savings were taken overnight, like 6 figures in savings were taken overnight because of a government and a poker thing. And like, I mean, the extreme highs and lows of our life together, you guys, it would take a different interview. Like it would take an hour to tell you.
Oh, we got the hour.
We got the hour, right? And we're happy to talk any of it. But I think, like, to bring it back to your question, if I'm really, and this is not scripted, like, I haven't truly prepared like this perfect pageant answer for you, because I don't know what's going to come out of my heart the day that I enter the competition, and I want it to come from my heart. And right now, it's that I bring authenticity and vulnerability, and I let people know, do not give up. Whatever the heck you're going through, do not give up, because checking out is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And whatever that you are in, it's a temporary problem, and it will get better. And if we hang in there and unite and hold each other up and be encouraging instead of building each other down, I don't care what our political belief systems are, we are here to hold one another up and to unite. And with that love, we can survive anything. And that's just what I'm feeling like right now. That's today.
Well, I mean, listen to you, and really, you are a winner. Definitely. Thank you for the answer. I mean, definitely, you just answered my questions to say, what are you going to take from that competition? I mean, you are not competed already, but you are a winner. Definitely.
Aww.
Thank you for that. And I really understood, what is that happened with your daddy. I have a dad too, and that's the only thing I have right now, like a family, close family. I have my brother, but my dad is very close to me, and I do understand. Yes.
Here's my question though, and thank you for sharing that. So we're going through a pandemic right now. I mean, a year ago, who in the world would have thought that we'd be going through a pandemic, wearing face masks, huge companies shutting down, people losing their jobs, stimulus checks. I mean, we can sit here and the list goes on and on and on. I've been in the music business for a long time. Even the artists right now, right? They don't, they can't go out and do live performances. That's the majority of their bread and butter. When they do a live performance, right? That's how they make their money. So now they're doing a lot of virtual stuff, which is, you get mixed reviews on the live concerts, if you will, right? But my question is this: with you competing for the Mrs. Arizona, you're considered a leader. So there's probably people watching right now who are maybe going through some really tough times right now. Now, what would your message be to those people right now, considering the circumstances that we're in right now? What is your message to them?
I mean, I would just reiterate what I said a minute ago, and don't give up. Whatever it is that any of us are facing right now, the depression, the hopelessness, I completely understand it. And don't judge other people's outsides compared to your insides. I say that because I feel like a lot of people right now are trying to hide their hopelessness and their depression, and they're self-nurturing through overconsumption, more consumption of alcohol. Alcohol consumption has gone up by over 400% since COVID has hit. Marijuana consumption, illegal drug consumption, it just the online addictive type things like online shopping, porn addiction, tech addiction, all of this stuff is how people are just coping through this. And it breaks my heart because I understand that there's this need to escape. But what I would say to people in this time, and it's the same work that I've had to do, believe me, because I go through depression. Like, I had a really serious depression hit early this spring. And when COVID started, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I think it was a combination of the loss of control with COVID and the fear that hit me big time with COVID. We had just, moved into a brand new house and tripled our expenses and, moved our kids into different schools. And I had a brain injury 5 years ago. And I'm still doing neurology work, and I work with a neurologist, and I'm on a brain medication for it, and I work with a neurotherapist and an optometrist and the whole deal. 5 years later, and we switched a medication. And so I don't know why I'm feeling led to say this right now, which is totally going down the rabbit hole. Maybe it'll help somebody. But the combination of all of those things became this perfect storm. And I found myself in April facing suicidal ideations every single day and almost all day long. Like it started with maybe one, like, oh, I don't know that I can do this, or, you know, I'd watch the news and just feel depressed. And then that depression fell into hopelessness, and it fell into, well, why bother? Why should I bother getting dressed today? Why should I bother showering? Why should I bother showing up at work? The world is going to collapse around me, so why should I bother? And that hopelessness just took me further and further and further down into the I don't mean anything to anybody. If I disappeared tomorrow, I remember saying this to you, like, if I disappeared tomorrow, I don't think anybody would know. I don't think it would change anybody's life. And I felt that to the core of my being. That is depression, folks. Like, that is absolute rock bottom depression. And it isn't the way that our brains want to be wired, but we need help for that. You know, I had to go back to my neurologist and say, whoa, something isn't working. I had to check in with a therapist. I had to go back to AA meetings and tell my people, like, you guys, this is serious. I don't know what's going on. I know I can get through it, but I just need to tell you this is where I am today, and get that unconditional support from people to say, it's all right, girl, it's okay. Like, we're strong enough that we can handle your fear and your depression and your anxiety or whatever else is happening. And because I had that community of support that I reached out to during that deep, dark time, I was able to start climbing out of it. And within 3 months, I was back to good. And I had switched my medication, and like that community had allowed me to not go and do the things that my brain was telling me to do. So all a really long story to say, talk about it. You know, if people are feeling super down, don't try to hide it. Like, there is no shame in the talk about it game. Like, put out there what's going on so that the people who are around you can love you and support you. And I would say, you know, just have that open dialogue and know that we're all facing the same things. Mental health is something to not be messing around with. Go get the help that you need, and support your, you know, your loved ones to be honest and vulnerable in the process, because we're all in it together and nobody is immune. Nobody is immune.
What is the craziest thing? So during your, I mean, you know, during the interview, right, we're hearing you guys talk about the journey, where you started, where you are now, where you kind of like where you're going, right? During that process, what is the craziest thing that has ever happened?
For us in our
Yeah, this is a dual question for you and your lovely spouse there.
Well, I don't know about the craziest thing that's ever happened to us, not pageant related, or for her in a pageant.
Hey, you can pick it. Well, you know, whatever you feel like is appropriate.
I think
This is a family show.
the craziest thing for us is probably getting married on reality TV shows.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, back in 06, we were married on a reality TV show that with, I don't know if you know Greg Behrendt at all. He wrote the book He's Just Not That Into You, and the movie that came out with, who was in that movie? It was a bunch of, like, Scarlett Johansson and
a big cast.
a bunch of other people. Yeah, it was, I think Kevin Bacon was in it, but like there's a bunch of like A player kind of people, and so he was in that, and he was the host of the reality show. And you know, this is before her sobriety. It was before you know, where we are now in our relationship. We'll say that.
A lot of life wisdom.
There was a very lack of life wisdom, actually. We'll say that. And a severe lack of life wisdom.
I was a train wreck,
Yeah.
let's just say, and it happened on national television, is what he's trying to say very nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you know, that happened, and but it was an awesome experience, and it honestly, we probably wouldn't be here today if it weren't for that experience, and that's part of the journey, and it was a really fun part of it, and kind of like one of those, I guess, things when people ask something that was crazy, because most people, I mean, getting married on reality TV shows don't happen every day, so you know, whatever.
That's a biggie, right? I mean, we got to fly in helicopters, and he got to drive race cars at the Bonnefront racetrack, and I had a national pageant coach flown in to help me because I was training at that time, and he was training for the Olympics at that time as a javelin thrower, and so it was crazy. And then, I mean, I remember the one thing about it was that I vowed I wasn't going to cry during the reality show.
5 minutes in, she cried.
And then for the clip of the show, like the preview for it, what was that morning show?
The View.
The View. That was the clip. of the entire 5 days that they kidnapped us for this reality show and brought us on our separate paths and did all of these amazing things over 5 days and learned so many lessons and had so many experiences. The one clip they show on The View was me crying.
I think you can find that on YouTube.
In the first 5 minutes. It was so embarrassing, you guys. I was like, I can't even. I wanted to crawl in a hole. Yeah. So that's how our, you know, we live.
So as we wind down the interview with you, first and foremost, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Again, being brought to you by Innovation Photography and Morningstar Storage and WAB Sports. We thank you. You guys are awesome, and we certainly wish you all the best moving forward in your endeavors. And Music Dreams USA Radio. What we're going to do is we're doing the live Facebook, and then after the pageant's over, we're going to circle back and we're going to do a audio interview, and we're going to have that aired on the radio, and then we'll get that going for you as well. But we definitely cheer on you and certainly wish you all the best. And any final thoughts?
Yes, your kids are amazing. We didn't even hear them. They were really well trained.
I don't know if you saw me one time. I looked over and I was like,
Go away. They're like looking up through the glass doors of Chris's office. Like, they want to use. Yeah. They love to crash this interview more than anything in the world. Thank you. Thank you. Big balls have made you.
You're amazing. Thank you.
So let me ask you this before we let you go. I know we talked a lot about different topics, everything, right? What final thoughts would you like to share with our people who are watching this video right now? What would you like to share with them before we go?
Well, speaking of that,
you guys just get compliments and our 2-year-old Buster. Come here, baby.
We're bringing the kids now. Bringing the whole family.
It's okay. Come here, baby. It's
she
okay.
has pizza sauce all over her face, but this is Kierland.
Hey.
Oh.
Ivy, you want to come in and say hi? It's the end of our interview. You can come say hello. It's okay. You did a great job babysitting. Here you go. This is Knightley, the 9-year-old.
Hey.
Amazing.
He's watching TV. All right, digital babysitting. It's happening. So final thoughts. I mean, thank you guys so much for having us on. I think, we're all about just authenticity and being genuine. And if we can share to other people the idea of a little bit of hope in their lives, then I think that's what America needs in this moment, to not give up, to hold on to the people around you, because it's really about family and it's really about relationships. And, don't let it take something potentially devastating in your life to circle back and really double down on the only thing that's the most important, which is your family and your most important relationships. So that's where I am right now. We're thankful that we can be starting this new podcast and this new show for people in business and marriage, and how to do all of this, like the marriage, the pageant, the insanity, building businesses, the whole deal. And if we can be of any service to anybody, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're more than happy to use our story, if we can help anybody else. There's Jude.
Well, again, on behalf of Music Dreams USA Radio, WAB Sports, Innovation Photography, and Morningstar Storage, we wish you nothing but the best. You guys are first class all the way. Thank you for taking the time out. We've had an absolute blast doing this live interview with you. So thank you for that, and much success. And we're going to be cheering you on. Even though you guys are Cardinal fans, even though you're Arizona Cardinal fans, we're still going to cheer you on.
We appreciate that. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a great night. Thank you.
Bye.